Hi, this is Deborah Cohen, and I'd like to talk to you about COVID in 2023. Who ever heard of such a thing? I thought it was called COVID-19. As a matter of fact, it's still called that, even though it's not 2019. So I'm not sure what the 19 means in 23, but I'm just saying all that to show you what a surprise it was when I went to the ER room last night and they told me I tested positive for COVID, even though I'm immunized. And so is my husband. So the symptoms started Friday, and I'm sharing this because some of you may not know the symptoms real well, or you may think that COVID is gone. It's not. As a matter of fact, I got the heads up from the ER room last night in Austell, Georgia, that there is a new strain called, I think something like BA.2.86. You can just look it up on Mr. Google. He will tell you that there's a rising concern for COVID. So it was kind of shocking to get the symptoms first. Now we're talking to people that are like senior citizens. May be different for younger people, but for senior citizens with high blood pressure. I went for an adjustment because I'm having trouble with my knee. The fibula head pops out on the right proximal side of my lateral knee, in case you want to know exactly where. And so after my adjustment, I started getting hypercontraction in my right trapezius and the occiput area. And I'm like, man, that must have been a bad adjustment. I initially thought that was the reason for the tight, aching back. Oh, it's terrible. Aching joints. I mean, I don't have that issue, thank God. So I thought, okay, well, maybe it'll blow over, with a couple aspirin. Well, by Saturday, I was like so weak. I had a sore throat, intermittent chills, like a wave of chills, and then I'd sit on a heating pad, a wave of being overheated with a dry cough like bronchitis, but nothing's coming up. It just feels congested in here. So when I went to the ER room last night, he said, "Are you on a respirator?" And I'm like, "What?" He says, an oxygen tank. And I'm like, oh my God, it's happening to me. No, I'm not on an oxygen tank. I don't want to be on an oxygen tank. He says, well, your oxygen is really low. I can't get it up to 93. Whatever that number is supposed to mean. Maybe some of you can tell me what it means. Anyway, I got this takeaway. A lot of COVID information. And the please read there, which you can't see because it's backwards, is from my husband. So I'm like, okay. Well, they let me go, thank God. They gave me meds. They gave me Tylenol for the aching, awful aching. And they gave me steroids to breathe. And they were actually going to give me a breathing treatment on top of that, but they waited to see how the pills would work. And indeed, all of a sudden, I went from lifeless to life in the ER room. Sounds like a song, doesn't it? So I wanted to make sure that I knew what the names of those meds were that the nurse gave me, because I felt so much better. They decided I didn't need the oxygen, whatever they call it, hookah experience. Oxygen, that's what it is, yeah. Another interesting side effect is, like, all of a sudden you get confused. Don't let it trick you. It's not old age. It's COVID. So they gave me, or I had to buy, actually, dexamethasone, and I think that is the steroid, to help me with my breathing. All of a sudden, okay, because one of the things is my nose, I couldn't breathe out of my nose when I had these flare-ups of being overheated. The inside of my nose swelled up so much it closed my nostrils and I couldn't breathe. And I'm like, oh my God. And I forgot that COVID was the classic symptom of COVID is, breathlessness. You can't breathe. It attacks your respiratory. But I kept trying to fight it and thinking, I'll do better. This headache on the top here. Oh, and when you cough, it feels like you're going to explode your head because there's just no movement. Anyway, I went to the ER. Thank God my husband was able to take me. And the first thing that the nurse said is, oh, I already told you that. See, I'm repeating myself. Oh, I don't usually do that. If you've been watching my earlier videos, I don't do that. Okay, so that's a COVID symptom. Don't fall into the trap of ageism where you blame everything on your age. The other pill is benzonatate, and that's supposed to help for the coughing, and it really does. And, it's important for me as a singer. I want to be able to record again. Right now, I'm like, oh, I can. Okay, anyway, enough of that. So I'm just telling you this because if you think you got the flu, but maybe you have some of these symptoms and you don't get better within the first 3 days, call your doctor. It's a serious illness, and they're experimenting with new drugs for you to take. One of them, I guess if you take it, you cannot be on a statin, and because it messes with your liver. I guess it shuts the liver down. So like my husband can't take it because he's got elevated liver enzymes. And actually, one of the side effects of statin is elevated liver enzymes. So not to be like my Nana, who would read the symptoms and then all of a sudden she had all of them. Bless her heart, Nana, I love you. Okay, but anyway, when I went home Sunday night, my Nana, no, not my Nana. See, I'm confused with this. Okay, we tested my husband, and guess what? He was positive for COVID. Neither one of us have had it before, and we're both immunized. So my husband had gone to his cardiologist earlier this week for the same kind of cough that I've got. And I'm like, so the cardiologist discontinued his lisinopril because one of the side effects of lisinopril is a nasty cough. So the cardiologist took him off of lisinopril and put him on a beta blocker because the doctor said anybody that's had a heart attack, and in my husband's case, 2 heart attacks, should be on a beta blocker. So all this is information I'm sharing with you, because there needs to be a hub for seniors that have all these questions and they don't know who to ask, or they don't have anybody who will listen, or they diminish what you do have, or maybe you don't even know if you have anybody to listen to. And then, of course, there are those people that fake sickness for various reasons. Like my Uncle Billy, I'm going to put him on the, he used to be in Nana's doghouse a lot. Uncle Billy, the truth be told, I think he was in junior high. He used to eat saltine crackers with milk and then chew them up and then spit them out and tell Nana, his mother, that he was sick and he couldn't go to school. I never did that, but I thought that's creative. But, we get different reasons. But if you are sick, take care of yourself and be smart. If you're sick, wear a mask. Seriously, we don't want your germs. Thank you for listening. And one more thing. If you want to comment, please do. Helpful comments or funny comments. But no nasties, okay? You're supposed to be nice when people are sick. Makes them feel better.